So, for the last 7 weeks, we have talked about our purpose, which is to honor God, and then our subsequent transformed passions to serve people, to pursue excellence, and to be good stewards of our life. And we are now going to move on to leveraging our platform. Your platform is simply the venue that God has given you to live out your purpose and your passions. It's your family, it's your job, it's your hobbies, it's your acts of volunteering. It's all the roles of influence God has given you to live a high impact life. In some sense, our platform is our life. So how do we have a life that is fulfilled, meaningful, abundant, and God honoring? In other words, how do we live flourishing lives? I think there are several things needed to flourish. The first thing is you need material provision, food, clothing, and shelter, and it helps to have a little walking around cash. The second thing you need are good friends, deep, authentic relationships, people that you can really trust, as it were. This starts with family and extends to friends and church and even your community. And the last thing you need is a purpose for living. For those of us who are Christ followers, it means a wholehearted allegiance to honoring God in all we do. We call these three essentials of flourishing: economic, social, and spiritual wealth. If we go back to the framework for a moment, you will see these are represented by the big blue triangle on the outside of the framework. Our purpose is the gold triangle. It's in the middle, to honor God. Our passions then become service, excellence, and stewardship, which are represented by the silver triangles. If you honor God, serve people, pursue excellence, and steward life, you will be blessed with economic, social, and spiritual well-being. I am not saying that there will not be times of poverty in your life. Poverty is simply not enough of what you need, and you may experience economic or social or spiritual poverty at some point in time in your life. This will happen, and it happens for a purpose. And I think the purpose is to draw us closer to God so that we may become more like Him. That said, I think God has promised us that He will meet our economic, social, and spiritual needs, and we need to live with that hope in our hearts. Flourishing happens when you have enough money, good friends, and a purpose for living. But you also need to live by a transformed purpose that allows you to live for something greater than yourself. And when this happens, you are then able to take your economic, social, and spiritual wealth and steward it or invest it for a greater cause. If you do this, you will become like these two stewards in the parable of the talents, who took the wealth they had been given and they put it to work by taking risk, with the result that they doubled the master's money. You see, when we view our assets as wealth, the tendency is for us to be fearful, take no risk, and bury our wealth in the bottom of our tent. When we view our assets as tools to create flourishing, we put them to work for the glory of God, as did the good and faithful stewards. How are you deploying the economic, social, and spiritual capital or wealth that God has allowed you to steward? Have a great discussion, and I'll be back in a few minutes.